real but God. Nothing matters but love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Jai Baba to everyone, and thanks to beloved Baba. Today is Wednesday, so I thought we might continue this time also with a little bit of anecdotes. I have one or two concerning Baba's stature as recognized by other great souls. So I would do that first. And then, time permitting, we would shift to some humorous incidents. Now, before we do that, I had a request from someone, okay, not someone, but Merchant Nori, to just very briefly talk about why we maintain silence on the Amar Tithi day between 12 and 12:15. So we were discussing that, and so I thought I'll just do that as per his request. One is, first of all, what is Amar Tithi? So we were discussing, and I suppose we all know when we say Amar, it means eternal. It means it is perennial. It is something forever. Timeless. Timeless, yes, timeless. And Tithi means a day, a particular day, which is a particular date, which is an eternal date, which is to be remembered and which will be remembered by everybody throughout eternity. Means for all times to come, this date would be remembered. The second thing that he requested about silence between 12 and 12:15 in the afternoon. We all know that Baba was not keeping too well, and that one day before Padri was called to Mehrazad, and Padri, being a good homeopathic doctor, he had learned homeopathy under Dr. Sarosh Wadia, who was from Bombay. So Padri was a good doctor, and he was summoned. And so Padri said that not to worry, I will give you some very good medication, and by 12 o'clock, when you take this particular dose, it will be all right, you'll be okay. So of course, Baba took that dose and jocularly said, where am I okay? I'm still suffering, I'm still going through those spasms. And then, as we all know, between 12 and 12:15, one very strong spasm came, and that is when Baba dropped his body. So nobody really knows the exact time of Baba dropping the body. It was somewhere between 12 and 12:15. It is assumed that around 12:15 he dropped his body, and because he suffered so much between that 15 minutes time period of the spasm and Airaj giving him mouth to mouth respiration, resuscitation, and all that. So in order to remember his suffering, in order to remember whatever he has gone through those 15 minutes, our assumption is that we maintain silence in his remembrance during those period of time, and then at 12:15 it was declared that he has dropped his physical form. So that is what I was requested to say, so I have said this. Now, coming back to our episodes of Baba's stature. This episode has been told to us by one Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma, we call him Sharma ji. He used to be a very important officer, I suppose, deputy commissioner or commissioner with income tax. And of course, now he's retired, and I suppose he's settled in Pune. He shuttles between Delhi and Pune. That's what I was told. And he had narrated this incident at our Bombay center. And to the best of my remembrance, I would just narrate as it comes to me. Now, he was not a follower of Meher Baba. And he used to be a very important officer. I suppose it was in North Block, which is supposed to be a very important office. And in that office, he had an colleague. I forgot the name. It could be some Tripathi or some other name, but I don't remember the name exactly. who was a Baba follower, and he would constantly, hammer Meher Baba into the brains of our dear Sharma ji. Everything and anything connected with Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. Of course, he knew that Sharma ji was following another master. He was following another master whose name was Pir Baba. But this happened quite a lot of time, that the gentleman, we call him Tripathi or whosoever, we call him Tripathi, maybe anybody else, was just bombarding Meher Baba's name on Sharma ji. And then one fine day, Mr. Tripathi said that just come by way of a picnic. Don't bother. It's a very beautiful place. It's a very soothing place. It is very calm. It is very, what should I say, peaceful. So why don't you just come and just come? You don't need to believe in Meher Baba. So just like that, he and went to Meher Baba's Samadhi and bowed down, and without any feelings, without any emotions, without even any respect, anything, he just did it in order to please his colleague. So that's how it was. Now, this Pir Baba, whom he followed, whom Sharmaji followed, used to remain in a place in called Baramulla, that is on the north Kashmir side, that side. Baramulla. Baramulla. So he used to be there almost about 8 to 9 months in a year. And when it would snow very heavily over there, and it would be very chilling, very cold, he would sort of come down to Delhi and stay at a place near Jamma Masjid. So whenever he would come for those 3 4 months at Jamma Masjid, Sharmaji would be going there and paying his respects to Pir Baba. So after coming from Baba's Samadhi, when the next time Pir Baba came to Jamma Masjid, obviously Sharmaji went. And when Sharmaji went and bowed down to Pir Baba uttered these words कि आप तो बहुत बड़ी जगह से आए हो, बहुत बड़ी जगह से आए हो करके. So Sharmaji felt that because he had just received a promotion and his office was shifted from some other place to the North Block. So he felt that Pir Baba is referring to that particular place. कि बड़ी जगह से, now you're coming from North Block. So बोला हाँ बाबा जी आपकी कृपा से मुझे प्रमोशन मिल गया और अभी मैं नॉर्थ ब्लॉक में बैठता हूँ और वहीं से आया हूँ करके. नहीं नहीं, वो उस चीज की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. आप कोई बड़े, there is a certain word he used, नहीं नहीं, वैसे ही सेड कि आप कोई बड़ी दरबार से आए हो. करेक्ट, थैंक यू सौम्या. आप कोई बड़ी दरबार से आए हो करके. So at that time Sharmaji felt that maybe he is meaning Meher Baba. So in order to tone down Meher Baba's stature, Sharmaji says that yes, I, just to please my friend, I had gone to a very small place. It is in Maharashtra, a place called Ahmednagar district, where there is a small dargah, a small place, Mehrabad. मैं वहां जाके आया. तो Pir Baba nods his head and said, yes, that is what I meant. आप बड़ी दरबार से आए हो means आप वहां होके आए हो. वो पीर बाबा को मालूम हो गया, हालांकि he had not even bowed down with love, with respect, with any kind of reverence. He just did it because to please to Meher Baba, just to please his friend. So this episode is over. Then he goes back again to his place, and 1 year goes by, and intermittently in that 1 year period, Sarmaji went through some very trying difficulties, very trying problems and issues in his own personal life. And of course, he would pray to Pir Baba, and somehow, after a period of time, whatever the problem was, that got solved, that got sorted out. So he was very happy, and in his own heart, he was thanking Pir Baba. Next year, when Pir Baba again comes to Jamma Masjid, for in the winter months, he again goes and pays his respect to Pir Baba. एंड ऑब्वियसली ही सेज कि आपकी बड़ी बड़ी मेहरबानी कि आपने मदद की, मेरा जो ये प्रॉब्लम था वो सॉल्व हो गया, मैंने आपकी प्रार्थना की वगैरह. At that time, Pir Baba says, and Sharma ji's, facial expression also changes. And he says that the facial expression of Pir Baba changed very differently. And he said कि मैंने आपके लिए कुछ भी नहीं किया है. I have not done anything for you. It is Meher Baba who has solved your problem. तो वो थोड़ा ये हो गया. He was a little taken aback and he said, बाप रे, ये तो मैं तो खाली ऐसे ही गया था. And then Sharma ji is asking him कि आप भी गए हो क्या उनकी समाधि पे? तो बोला नहीं. What he replies is कि मैं वहां गया नहीं हूँ, लेकिन आप उनको मिले हो क्या? बोला मैं मिला नहीं हूँ, बल्कि लेकिन मैं उनको रूहानी तौर पे पहचानता हूँ. That means in a Rohani Tor, I would interpret as in a spiritual way, in a spiritual manner, the spiritual hasti that Meher Baba is. I have been able to recognize his spiritual stature. So I have recognized his spiritual stature. And from then on, Sharmaji was, in a sense, wedded to Meher Baba, and he continued going to Meher Baba Samadhi. And after some time, it seems Pir Baba was quite old, so he died. So this was again one of the episodes. Whatever little I remember, I informed to bring home a point that real, genuine saints recognize Meher Baba's stature. And for some reason or the other, their lips have been sealed or zipped by Baba himself, not to openly declare him as the avatar. You see, and we know so many such instances. We spoke about Kamu Baba last time. When Kamu Baba, there was one instance when Baba dropped his body, and there were some followers who were with Kamu Baba. And when the news reached Kamuba, those people, they were in a very disrespectful, joking way. They told Kamu Baba कि कमू बाबा वो जो मेहर बाबा था ने, वो बोलता था कि मैं मौन तोड़ूंगा, वो तो गुजर गया, वो तो मर गया करके, some in a very disrespectful manner. So at that time, Kamu Baba very sternly told his disciples, are you aware of what Hasti you are talking about? Do you know what was his stature? Do you know आप किसके बारे में ये ऐसे हंसी मजाक करते हो? And then he said कि उन्होंने जिस तरह सारी दुनिया का भार उठाया है, he has taken on the load of the entire world, अभी वो नहीं रहा, तो क्या तेरा बाप या मेरा बाप उठाएगा अभी? Words to the effect कि now that he is no more, who is going to take that burden? As long as he was there in the physical form, he was taking upon himself the burden of the world. Now who will? So in other words, again, bringing home a point that Kamu Baba recognized Meher Baba's stature and respected him for that. Similarly, Pir Baba. Similarly, we spoke about Muktanand Swami. Sometime back, we spoke about Muktanand Swami. And Susie Biddu, when she went there and she felt that she may have to bow down to Muktanand, so she does like this. Muktanand Swami को देख के, मैं तो मेहर बाबा के साथ हूँ, मैं तो मेहर बाबा के साथ हूँ. So much as to say, I am not going to bow down to you. And Muktanand Swami with a big smile says, मेरे गुरु Nityanand Swami भी मेहर बाबा के साथ है. Something like that. Now for Nityanand Swami, it seems Baba had said that he was on the 6th plane of consciousness. So we now realize how, for example, the other day we talked about the Shankaracharya of Dehradun. I gave the story of Parviz and Kharshed Talati when they were young and all that. I don't want to repeat the whole story. But the point is that even Shankaracharya said words to the effect that अगर मेरे में मैं किसी को कुछ दे सकता हूँ, if I feel like giving something to somebody, I can only give 2 आना. At that time there was that आना rupiah anna pai and all that. 2 annas would be 16 annas made 1 rupee. So I can only give, I've got the authority of giving only 2 annas. But he has the authority, Meher Baba has the authority to give 1 rupee, and over and above that, he can also give 2 annas. So that is his stature, that is his authority. Again, so now one more very small episode. I would end up my episodes about Baba's stature. There are many more as I come across it, especially with reference to the musts. We will do that by and by. Now, this is also concerning a must. We all know what a must is. This is a terminology which is more or less a Sufi terminology, where must, we say, अरे बहुत must है, मस्ती में must है. Must means intoxicated. And these musts, when Baba talk about the must, they are intoxicated in their love for God. And they are so intoxicated that they have either lost partially or wholly their awareness or consciousness of the gross of their bodies and of their surroundings. They are only focused on their beloved God. They are musts. That is not a normal state of spiritual involution. Many people give a lot of importance to must. Are maybe must banunga. No, must is somebody who has had a drink, of God, and he has got intoxicated. Then there are others who drink and yet they are very balanced. They walk straight. They are not intoxicated and they are saints. So, in other words, must is the state of must is not something that you wish to aspire for, but they have tried their spiritual journey on their own without a master, and they have they have not remained on the so-called path. They have gone on the lanes and the by lanes, as we call it, and they got stuck up in the heavens, and they are called the must. Sorry. Baba says that he is very happy, most happy, when he is either with very small children or when he is with the must. Because both are innocent, both are childlike, both have no lust, no anger, no greed, no nothing. They are very innocent, they are childlike. So Baba is most happy when he is with musts. And in my limited understanding of things, I don't think any other avatar, or at least it is not on record, would have done so much of must work as what Baba has done. There are no records of it. Baba did say that Jesus also did contact musts, and that Rama, when he was in the Vanvas, Lord Rama, he contacted musts. But we do not have any record or very little record, if any. So Baba would literally spend days and nights, sometimes without food, without rest, exhausted, tired, dirty, without bath, without shaving, just to have a contact with the must. What happens with the must, we do not know. Nobody knows. Even the person next to Baba, like for example, Baidul would be there, Irach would be there, Kaka Baria would be there, or somebody else, whosoever may be there. They do not really know what exactly is happening in that meeting, because nothing, apparently, openly, nothing is happening. It is all antrik, it is all internal, it is all spiritual. And the only hint that Baba had given was that these musts have a lot of spiritual energy, pure energy, which Baba uses for his own inner spiritual work, and in the process also gives a spiritual push to the must. So it is a win-win situation. The musts are benefited and the world is benefited because of their existence. Now this incident happened. This is just one of them. There are many. in 1948 in the month of November. This was in Delhi, and Baba had gone to look out for must. And there was one must by the name of Amanullah. 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 Okay, Amanullah. So Baba met that must at Red Fort, that is what is known as Calcutta Gate, and Baba and Irach were there. And what they did, what Baba did, we really do not know. But they had to catch a train back, it seems for Agra or for some other place, and it was getting late. And it has always been that Baba, as far as possible, never displeases a must. If he knows that the must is pleased with cigarettes, with bidis, with tobacco, with pan, with chai, with anything, Baba would go all out to give that must, that so that the must is in a very happy and a cooperative mood. Only then Baba can do work through that must. The other thing is that Baba would always ensure that the must does not recognize Baba. If the must recognizes Baba as the avatar or as somebody very great, then Baba says, my work is not done, and he tries to go away from that particular place. Right. So now, here what has happened was the work was going on, and another thing is that it has been a kind of a respectful procedure that you ask permission of the must to leave. We used to, I remember for those who have met and seen Muhammad the Mast, we always ask, Chala Deva ata mi jato, huh? Now we are going, ata amala hukam deya, hukam deya. Now you give the hukam or the permission to leave. Only then we leave. Otherwise, he will say, basa, basa, deto, 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 thamba, thamba. Like that, he would keep on saying, because we have experienced this, those who have met Muhammad the Mas. So in this particular case, the same thing happened, that he, Amanullah Mast, is not allowing Baba and Iraj to leave. And, Baba is, elbowing Iraj and saying, ask him the permission to leave. So he says, Baba, अभी हमको जाने दो, हमारा ट्रेन छूट जाएगा, हमको लेट होता है, ये है. So he said, wait, 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 wait. And it went on for quite some time, when it was really felt that even now if we leave, we'll be able to just catch the train. So then Baba is again, elbowing Irach, and this is the sign for Khuda or God. So he's saying that he is asking Irach to say, कि बाबा खुदा के खातिर हमको जाने दो, खुदा के लिए हमको जाने दो, खुदा खुदा whatever, खुदा के लिए हमको जाने दो. तो जब ये when Irach is saying खुदा के लिए हमको जाने दो, that must is saying खुदा तो हमारे सामने खड़ा है, खुदा तो हमारे सामने खड़ा है. The moment Baba realizes that he has recognized Baba's greatness, Baba tells Iraj, chalo, my work is done, let's move karke. So these were a few instances, and there are quite a few more. We'll come to that by and by. Okay, by and by. So now we'll just, these were certain little serious instances. Now let us go to little humorous instances. Okay. The first one that comes to my mind is that Baba, in Baba's Darbar, there was no such thing as sitting quietly, meditating, concentrating, focusing on here, nothing of that. All the time there was activity, and all the time Baba would ensure that something or the other is always happening. If something is not happening, then Baba would lagao chavi and have some kind of a quarrel between two Mandli people. He would say certain things, and then the other person would say, no, 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 it never happened like. So something or the other, some activity was on. So at this time, once, Baba and everybody was sitting. So Baba told Gustadji, as we all know, Gustadji was one of very old Baba's disciple. He was with Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba. Then he was sent to Upasni Maharaj. From Upasni Maharaj, he came to Meher Baba, and Baba had given him silence. And Gustad Ji observed silence for 33 years. And when Gustad Ji died, Baba said that he has realized me. That means it is no mean matter, no small thing to be told by the avatar himself that he has realized me, he has realized God. You see, so we are so Baba tells Gustad Ji that tell me whether you have dreamt something today. Now Gustad Ji had a very funny way of expressing his expressions and all that, and it was like Gustaji had that non-stop. He would go on and on and on and on till somebody or Baba says, "Stop it now, stop it." So Baba asked Gustaji, "Tell me, what did you dream today?" So he said, "Yes, Baba, I always dream, and what." And then, as we say, "Phek marne ka," thokam thoki, So he said, "I was sleeping, and right in front of me, there was one ghost who came, and his feet were underground, and his head was touching the sky, and he was this big, and he was." So he went on and on and on. Now, amongst Baba's darbar, there were some who were supposedly educated, intelligent. They took all this as dhap. It is all dhap. It has no substance. He is just dhapping, and Baba is just charaving him. Baba is just encouraging him. It has no dumb. There is no truth in what Gustad Ji is saying. And then it went on and on and on. And Eraj was thinking, see, Baba is simply wasting our time, wasting all this time. And of course, Baba asked Eraj, what are you thinking? And Eraj bluntly said, Baba, Gustad Ji is just dhapping, he's just saying all this thing. There is a ghost jaisa kuch hai nahi. There is no such thing as ghost and all that. He's just saying, So Baba said, okay, that's all. So that was over. Then sometime later, Baba had sent Eraj on some errand to Pune from Ahmednagar. You go to Pune karke. So by the time Eraj reaches Pune, you know, he gets a telegram or whatever. Those days there were very little phone calls, so telegram that ask Eraj to come back immediately. That he must come back immediately tonight. That means tonight do not stay at Pune, but come and stay at Merazad or wherever that place may be. I'm sure it could be Merazad only. So immediately Eraj returns and comes back to uh, Merazad. And so it was a little late. Baba had already retired for the night. And as was the regular practice, Baba would be sleeping on the bed and Eraj was lying down on the floor on the same place, same over there. Baba must have told you rest here because you just gone and just come. Now this is what this was narrated by Eraj himself. He says that I was not awake, full awake. I was not asleep. So I can't even call it a dream. It was not a dream. It is something in between my awake state and in my sleep. I was not neither asleep nor was I awake. And in that state, I am seeing a huge something, like how Gustaji had expressed, a huge something that is coming like this, coming like this slowly, 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 and approaching me. And that whatever that entity was, whether you call it a ghost, we call it an entity, it came and sat on my chest. It came and sat on my chest and it was trying to strangulate me, strangle me. It was trying to press my throat. And I, with my superhuman strength, was fighting with making a lot of noise. Like that, I was making a noise, and that went on for a very long time. I was just fighting like this all the time. And at last, I was successful and I was able to throw away that whatever that entity was. And then Eraj is sleeping on the floor and he says, the moment I opened my eyes, what I see is that Baba is sitting on his bed with his legs dangling and with a smile on his face and a twinkle in his eyes. And Baba is asking, what happened? Baba is asking, what happened? So Eraj also smiled, and then without any narration of what happened, Baba said, "Now you know, now you see that there is some such thing like the ghost." And then Baba very humorously, Eraj very humorously says that the ghost must have had an appointment with Baba that night, and that is why Baba immediately called me back, by a telegram for me to experience this experience. He did not allow me to stay at Pune, although he himself sent me to Pune to do some work, but immediately he called me back. So that was one of the humorous instances which Eraj narrated. And Baba himself has said that there are ghosts, and we all know that those who have left their physical form, you know, in a sense, those who have committed suicide, those who have cut short their life on earth through some, conscious means, not accidental, conscious means, they roam around as ghosts and they keep coming to the avatar and the perfect master to be relieved of this ghost state and then go on with whatever their journeying was. So that was one story which came to my mind. All right. Now the other story. I, with regard to story, I must admit that they are repetitions. Soumya does keep telling me that I should now hunt for some new stories, which I will definitely do. But I am sure I feel at least 60 to 70% of the people who are attending here would not have heard them, or they may be hearing for the first time. So it's okay. I think it's okay. But all the same, I will try to hunt out some new stories. There are plenty. There are plenty. Now this is again a humorous story, and humorous along with an emphasis on what should I say, on punctuality. In today's post, I'm sure it must be in earlier also, where either it must be Jyoti or it must be our divine postmaster who is writing, and rightly writing, that one should be punctual when one is concerned with any activities connected with Baba. We are supposed to meet here at 5. What we find is that at 5 there are hardly 25, 30 people, and then it gradually increases to whatever number. We are not talking numbers. It doesn't matter even if it is 20 or 15 or 5, but they should be punctual, because we have given an appointment to Baba. Baba is there, presence is there in these meetings, and so we must honor his presence, and we should try to be on time. That's I always try to follow. See, once in a way you can't because of certain exigencies. That's a different matter. So this story emphasizes on punctuality. All right. As I said earlier, with Baba, you don't just sit idle. You don't sit vacant. You just don't sit doing nothing. Baba would create some work where there is not any work, or he would create some kind of activity, to a point where if Baba were to go on a tour, a must tour or any other tour, he would give some kind of projects to the women only, either for sewing something or for making some kind of, brooches or something,
Skits,
or preparing
drama,
some drama, preparing
dance.
some skit, preparing some dance, so that they are all the time kept busy. You see, so that was it. Now, this particular episode happened when Baba had asked the Mandli that one by one, one by one, they should present themselves with some kind of a, elocution, some speech or some poem or any activity. And Baba, this is my understanding of how the story goes. The Mandli would be staying at Mehrabad, some of them, and Baba would be traveling from Mehrabad to Mehrabad. Uh, and so generally it so happened, and I'm sure this is purposely done by Baba, in order for us to learn this particular lesson. So supposing Baba says, okay, I'm coming at 9 o'clock in the morning, then Baba would be coming at 9:10, 9:15, 9:20, and that happened consistently over a couple of days. And then when Baba would come, he would just freshen up, and then whosoever the mandli is, Baba would say, okay, now you say. So Padri would say something, or Adi would say something, or whatever. Now the next day, it was the turn of Dr. Ghani. We all know Dr. Ghani. Sign for Dr. Ghani, Baba used to do like this, which means the huge head or the big head, because he had a big head, and he has a very beautiful blend, a mixture of wit, you know, and wisdom. So he had a lot of humor, and he had a lot of wisdom, and we owe a lot to Dr. Ghani, because Dr. Ghani was a Sufi, a personality who knew a lot of Sufi literature, and a lot of it is incorporated in the supplement of God Speaks. And Ghani was responsible for extracting a lot of spiritual secrets from Baba based on Baba's mood. So he would gauge Baba's mood, and when Baba was in a mood of speaking, talking, revealing, disclosing, he would ask some very pertinent spiritual questions, and then Baba would give out the answers. So we owe a lot to this gentleman, and so that was it. So here the next turn was of Ghani. So now in Ghani's mind, he knew that Baba comes 15, 20 minutes late. So instead of coming at 9 o'clock, he comes aram se. And Ghani was a very lazy person. We all know about Ghani. He was so lazy that during the new life, we are told that sometimes, he would not even change his clothes. He would sleep in his shoes so that he doesn't have to wear shoes the next day morning. Something like that. And he actually was not very keen on joining the new life, but the two doctors who were joining, the Dr. Donkin and Dr. Neelu, when Ghani asked these doctors, because Baba had said that you will have to walk about maybe 10, 15, 20 miles every day. You have to really keep walking all the time in the heat of the sun, and they will have no rest and all that. So these two doctors told Ghani, you don't get frightened by what Baba is saying, because Baba's health is so poor that he will hardly be walking 3 to 5 miles in a day. So bindas, without any fear, you join. And then when Baba walked so many miles and all that, he would always blame that these two doctors fooled me into joining the new life. Had I known of this, I would never have. Anyway, that's beside the point. Coming back to our episode, on that particular day, Baba came a little before the time. That means not 9 o'clock, but 5 to 9 or 10 to 9. And he was waiting for Ghani to come and start his presentation, whatever that may be. And Ghani, he came aram se, in a very casual manner. And he came and stood before Baba sometime around 9, 10, 9:15, whatever it is. And Baba looks at him, and he calls him closer. So Ghani goes. The moment Ghani goes close, Baba gives him one tight slap. Tarak. Right? Absolutely. And Baba sometimes can be very jalali in his mood. It gives a tight slap and says, sit down. So says means sit. So he was sitting. And then after some time, that is Baba's practice, that Baba would be very angry, and the next moment he would be very loving, very kind, and he would embrace, So after some time, as if Baba's temper got a little low, again he calls Ghani. So obviously Ghani feels that now Baba will now embrace me. So again Baba gives him another tight slap, and the moment he gives the slap, immediately Baba says, speak, means speak up. Whatever you're prepared for me, speak up. And Ghani being Ghani, he was, a gem of a mandli. So he very, very beautifully, whatever he had prepared for Baba, he speaks out, in that force, with that same force and all that. Gusto, correct, in that same gusto. And Baba was very happy about it. And then Baba again calls him. Now he was a little taker. And then tell me, Gani. He said, tell me, doctor, tell me, how did you feel when I gave you this tight slaps? How did you feel? What did you feel? What was going on in your mind? And Gani, out of his humor, he says, Baba, I felt like giving you one tight slap. I felt that I should give you one tight slap. But because you were my childhood friend, I said, जाने दो माफ किया करके आप after all you are my friend करके मैंने आपको माफ किया. And Baba had a hearty laugh. Gani had a hearty laugh. Everybody sitting there had a hearty laugh. And Baba embraced Gani, and the matter was solved. So that was one very humorous episode concerning Baba and Gani. And of course, Gani would sometimes take liberties with Baba, and Baba would allow those liberties because Gani was with Baba since a very, very long time. Gani was a doctor, and he had a homeopathic doctor, and he had a dispensary in that Princess Street or somewhere over there in Bombay, and it wasn't running very well. It was not running very well, and words to the effect, I'm not very sure. Baba said, that now you do one thing, it will prosper, you will prosper, something like that. But what you have to do is, instead of asking somebody else to do the jharu in your dispensary, you yourself sweep and do the jharu of your dispensary, and in 6 months time you will get the results. So poor Gani, he started doing the jharuing, and of course dispensary did not run well.
And 6 months it closed.
Huh? And within 6 months it closed down also. So बाबा कभी कभी ऐसे झाड़ू मारने को बोलते हैं, तो झाड़ू मारते हैं तो वो सब हो जाता है. I remember once was that Kaki Irani, no? There was one gentleman by the name Kaki Irani. I don't know whether he is still alive or not. He had come to our place and he narrated an episode similar to this. They had a dairy farm and many buffaloes, and fairly well, they were doing fairly well. So they kept on insisting to Baba, Baba, you come and bless us. Baba, you come and bless. Baba, you come and bless. So somehow uh, Baba was saying, Talte gaye, okay. One fine day, Baba went to the farmhouse, to the dairy, and Baba was told that now you bless this karke. See, when we say bless, we feel that okay, abhi ज़्यादा दूध देगी and ज़्यादा ये हो जाएगा, profit हो जाएगा. So Baba asked for a jaru, give me a jaru, the broom. So the family gave a broom. So he did this with this thing, and in a short time, this is exactly what narrated by Kaki. He said in a short time, one by one, the buffalo started dying. One by one, and totally the dairy was stopped and closed down, and that was one of the reasons why many of the family members they stopped believing in Baba. कि ये कैसा बाबा है, बोलते हैं बाबा आ गया और हमारा सब सत्यानाश हो गया. After all, that is normally the case. They go away and they come back again with full vigor. And so at the time when he was with us, at our place, he was with Baba. So he loved Baba immensely. But this is another story where Baba Jharu marta hai. And I had told you, I think this story about, I don't know whether I should repeat, about a gentleman who had bought a new car and wanted the car to take Baba's darshan, right? I had told this, right? So I won't, okay, I won't go do that. Now I will narrate an incident. This is not a direct Baba related incident, but an incident which, see, when Baba would sit in his darbar, he would want some kind of activity, as I said. And one of the activities would mean that you are expected to either perform, that means sing, dance, speak, whatever, or tell jokes. So this is one of the jokes which Mani, Baba's sister Mani, had narrated in the Mandli hall, and he said that we need to be prepared. See how Baba prepares them. That at any time Baba would simply say, "Now you sing," or now you tell me a joke, or now you say something on this subject. So all the time we are prepared so as not to displease Baba and to honor his wish and to please Baba. You say, ah. So this is one story where which Mani said that we used to tell Baba. So that was one narration. There was one gentleman. What was his name? Mr. Brown. I think his name was Mr. Brown. There was one Mr. Brown, and he was, so to speak, so unfortunate, so jinxed, that everything that he did, it failed. He was never successful in anything that he did. So, Mani gives an example. Supposing there are two queues line where, let's say, cinema tickets were being sold. So Mr. Brown is in one queue, somebody else is in other queue. That queue will move forward very fast, and his queue will be as it is, or it will move very, very slowly. And when his turn comes, the man at the counter will say, "Sorry, all sold out." So he would not be able to see the cinema because the tickets are all sold out. So in that way, wherever he went and whatever he did, he met with failure. He was not successful. So then he says, that one fine day, and we all know Mani's way of speaking. It is superb. It is absolutely super. So Mani says that one fine day, he is he has taken a flight and he is flying in the airplane, and something went wrong with the airplane, and the pilot is saying that uh, the machine is failed and there is no way in which we can do uh, safe landing. There is every possibility that the plane may blow up, in the mid-air. And so all that you can do is pray to your favorite God and pray to your God that God may save you. Now, his favorite god was Saint Xavier's. Mr. Brown's favorite god was Saint Xavier's. So everybody is praying to their favorite god, and everybody is shivering. Everybody is afraid. They were all, as we say, scared to death. And as this was happening, he is just shouting out, "Saint Xavier, Saint Xavier, Saint Xavier, Saint Xavier," and for once he felt that he was very successful. So from the top, one hand comes from above the sky, one hand comes and picks him up out of the plane, picks him up out of the plane, and from up there, he is seeing that the plane is nose diving, going down, 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 and it blasts. And he is saying, "Oh my God, I am safe. I am so fortunate. But that hand is there, and from above that hand, a voice comes. Which Saint Xavier's were you praying to? Of Assisi or of Goa?" So, so he says, "Of Assisi." Dang! He was thrown down, and there was laughter in the room, and Baba had a hearty laugh. Saint Francis, okay. Saint Francis, okay. The whole point is that Baba enjoyed that joke, and when Mani was narrating it in the Mandli hall, we all had a very great laughter. So that was another story from Mani. We are talking about humor. Now again, talking about humor, this is also from Mani, and I'm sure it must have been heard by Baba as well. So Mani says that there was one man who was, like a marriageable age. He was of a marriageable age, and so he was trying at various places for a proper bride. and but he was not very successful because he used to brag a lot, bragging. He used to brag a lot. But one fine day, uh, that boy, that groom to be, you know, had a friend, along with them a friend. He said, Baba, I really don't know why you get rejected by all the so-called brides to be. Something must be going wrong. No, nothing of that sort. So he said, but I know you so well. You got this dirty habit of bragging all the time. You just brag. No, no, nothing of that sort. He said, now, okay, this time I'm going to come with you. I'll come with you. And remember, the moment I find you bragging, I will cough. At that time, it should be a signal to tone down your bragging, to come, tone it down. Then only you might find the bride. Otherwise, everybody is rejecting you. He said, okay, okay. So one appointment was fixed and they went. So this groom to be and the friend, Money is narrating this, they all went. And so the normal procedure, the chai, nashta, and all this. And the bride is asking, so tell me something about yourself. So he said, oh, I am a very brave man and I go hunting in the jungle alone. And you got no idea. One fine day, I killed a tiger which was 40 feet long. The cough comes, 40 feet long. So he got, no, no, no. I think it was 35 feet long. Again, you know, and like that, it kept on reducing 35, 30, 25, 20, and then the coughing kept on happening. And finally, that groom to be got so annoyed. He said, now, howsoever you may cough, I am not going to reduce below 15 feet. 15 feet is final. And then everybody had a laugh. And that was the reason, why this poor chap could not get a good bride. So that again, Money narrated this, and this is a first hand because I was there when I heard all these humorous. All right, now yes, we still have time. One last one, and maybe Soumya is ready with some song. We might do a song and then end there. If you're ready with that, okay, fine. Okay, so you can give the background also. All right. Uh, this happened when Baba was on a voyage, a sea voyage, obviously, and on the voyage, Baba somehow was suffering from a very excruciating toothache. Now, whenever Baba would go on a voyage, or for that matter, anywhere, we can come across so many stories where, in our typical bhasha, we call it wholesale Mughlai. We call it the wholesale Mughlai means he would, of course, he is a king of kings and he would have certain terms and conditions of his own, which to a normal person would, it would look very idiotic, very preposterous, very preposterous. So he had a toothache, and he said that I think he sent his brother Jalbai first and said, go and tell the dentist on the ship that I have one of the passengers have a very severe toothache, and that the doctor should come and see him in his cabin. That means Baba's cabin. So Jalbai goes, and now whenever such things happen, you can't just blurt out openly like that. So you have to just say it in a very different manner. That see, there is a passenger over here, and he can't come out. He normally doesn't see people. He doesn't want to see a crowd of people. So it would be so nice of you if you can go and see him and just attend to his toothache. He doesn't want to come out. Whatever yarn that you want to make, whatever stories that you want to make, and that was permitted in Baba's Darbar. It was permitted because it was for Baba's own good. So you have to just do this, and just if you don't mind, could you please? And at that time, I suppose it was a British time and a British dentist, and said nothing doing. The protocol is that the patient has to come here. And then Jalbai also says that he could be very reluctant, if you try to do something, he may not allow you to do something. So you may have to be a little firm and, very lovingly, but firm, and just get it done so that his ache goes away. Doctor heard everything, but he said, sorry, but I can't come over there. Rules are rules. The patient has to come there. So Jalbai comes and informs Baba. Now, as I said, it could be Jalbai, it could be somebody else. The most important thing is the humor and the crux of the humor. So he comes and tells Baba that, Baba, I'm sorry, this can't be done. So Baba obviously is not at all happy about the whole episode and said, what is this? You could not do such a small work. You can't do it. And then he orders Chanji. Chanji was Baba's secretary. Chanji, and says, you go and do this job for me and just do it and see that it is done. So the next time Chanji goes. Now, no sooner Chanji goes, the doctor assumes that this is the patient, because he already said no, that the patient. So the moment Chanji goes, the doctor puts Chanji on the seat, the dentist ka chair ke upar betha ke, he asks him to open the mouth and all that, and to put that bitter medicine in the tooth. And Chanji is, what should I say, lamenting. Chanji is saying, no, 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 I'm not the patient, no, 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 something like that. But the doctor would not listen to him, because Jalbai had already said that irrespective of what, the patient may be a little reluctant, but you must do it. Karke. And poor Chanji was put some very bitter medicine, and he was made to sit there for a little while. And then after some time, Chanji was allowed to go. And Baba there was saying, what takes him so long? Why is he taking so long? Why is the doctor not coming? And after Chanji comes and says, Baba, this is what happened. For your sake, I had to, bear the taste of the bitter, medicine. And Baba had a hearty laugh. He said, serves you right, And then he said, now don't worry, my pain has gone. So there was so much of laughter that the pain has gone. So these are some very humorous episodes that happened in the Baba's ministry. There was some request for Soumya to sing a particular. Is it for by Huma? Okay. Okay. Khuda. Okay, okay. But you can give a background if you want to. This is something like Monazat, is it? Something like a Zoroastrian prayer song in praise of the Lord. Okay. Go ahead. Jai Baba.
खुदाविंद खाविन ओ परवरदिगार नमू तारी दाद गाए हूँ खाकसार थयो रोज आखिर शुरू थई चिरात तनी राजी करवा ती हूँ छू पछात दयालु खुदाविंद ओ जगनारे बाप मनी सारुधापन निबुद्धि तु आप के भूलो सुधारो हवे रोज बरोज भलाई वधारो करे नित्य खोज भलू हक ममारा ते जानू नहीं भलू जे मने ते तू जाने सही बहु आज जीती नमीने खुदा करूँ छू दुआ आशीषो दे सदा के तारी मदती राखूं विवेक मनशनी गवशनी कुनशनी नेक मनी पास बानी मतारी सुवाद भला काम करवा सवारे उठार खुदाविंद खाविन ओ परवरदिगार नमू तारी दाद गाए हूँ खाकसार.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. This is in Gujarati language, where we are asking God to give us what we call good buddhi so that we do good and speak good, and every day we add, sort of, with what is it? It is Gujarati with some Persian. Yeah, okay. Yeah, correct. So, in other words, we are asking God to bless us so that we may praise Him and
We know what is best.
we may do
We
good
don't know
deeds.
what is best.
Good deeds. Yeah, correct. Thanks a lot. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Thank you,
Avatar
Baba.
Meher
Jai
Baba
Baba.
ki
Ki
Jai.
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 Jai Baba. Thank you, Baba.